For the first time in modern history, we don't have to guess which one is better, because right now in Ukraine, both tanks are fighting and the results are coming in. The data is brutal. Today, we're settling this, round by round, measuring by armor, firepower, mobility, technology, and what the real war in Ukraine is telling us right now. One tank wins. Let's find out which one. To judge these tanks fairly, you need to know what each one was built for. The M1 Abrams entered U.S. Army service in 1980, designed at the height of the Cold War specifically to fight Soviet armor across Western Europe. The idea behind it was simple but uncompromising. The crew comes first, so basically build the best armor, the best fire control, the best protection systems money can buy, and make sure the people inside walk away even if the tank takes a hit. And it worked. Over 4 decades of continuous upgrades, the U.S. Army now operates approximately 2,509 Abrams in active variants, with an additional 3,700 in storage. The latest, the M1A2 SEPV3, is among the most advanced fighting vehicles ever built. The T-90 entered Russian service in 1992, born from the economic wreckage of the Soviet collapse. Russia needed something affordable and producible at scale. Russia has manufactured around 1,000 T-90S across variants, with approximately 350 T-90As and up to 100 of the newest T-90M breakthrough variants in active operation. The T-90M represents Russia's most serious attempt to modernize its armor with upgraded fire control, improved protection, new electronics, designed to close the gap with Western tanks. For round one, it's a draw, because both reflect different design ideas. This is the most important category for any tank crew, because the best tank in the world is worthless if the people inside it don't survive contact with the enemy. The Abrams uses Chobham composite armor, which is a classified layered design combining steel, ceramics, and depleted uranium mesh. This is an engineered system designed to defeat multiple threat types simultaneously, like shaped charge warheads, kinetic penetrators, or even rocket-propelled grenades. The Abrams is built to withstand them all. The depleted uranium component is particularly effective because DU is extraordinarily dense, making it one of the best materials on Earth for stopping armor-piercing rounds. Beyond the armor itself, the Abrams carries an automatic fire suppression system. The moment a fire starts inside the tank, it's detected and extinguished in milliseconds. Crews have described emerging from burning Abrams tanks alive precisely because of this system. The tank is also built for deep water fording and features chemical warfare defense systems that protect the crew in NBC or nuclear, biological, chemical environments. Critically, the Abrams stores its ammunition in the rear of the turret, separated from the crew by armored blast doors. If ammunition is hit and detonates, the explosion vents upward through blowout panels in the turret roof and away from the crew. This design decision has saved countless lives. The T-90 takes a fundamentally different approach. It uses Contact 5 Explosive Reactive Armor, or ERA, which consists of explosive panels bolted to the outside of the tank. When an incoming warhead hits a panel, the explosion disrupts the penetrating jet before it can reach the main hull. It's a clever and effective solution, and Contact 5 is genuinely capable against older threats. The T-90M also features the Shtora 1 Optronic countermeasure system, which is a system that detects laser rangefinders aimed at the tank and attempts to jam anti-tank guided missiles. It's a sophisticated active protection system that disrupts the guidance systems of incoming ATGMs, buying the tank precious seconds to maneuver. But the T-90 has a fatal flaw that no amount of reactive armor can fix: its ammunition storage. T-90 rounds are stored in an auto-loader carousel at the base of the turret directly surrounding the crew. When a penetrating hit reaches that ammunition, the result is catastrophic. The turret is blown completely off the tank in what soldiers call a jack-in-the-box explosion. In Ukraine, this kind of explosion has been filmed hundreds of times. Russian tank crews call it the most feared outcome, and it happens because of a design compromise that Russian engineers chose to accept in exchange for a smaller, lighter tank with a faster reload. The round 2 winner is definitely Abrams because of the superior armor, separated ammunition storage, automatic fire suppression, and crew-first design philosophy give Abrams a decisive advantage in keeping its crew alive. Both of these tanks carry serious guns, but the differences in how they're designed and how accurate they are. The Abrams is equipped with a 120mm M256 smoothbore cannon firing shattering, armor-piercing sabot rounds, high-explosive anti-tank rounds, and close-range canister rounds. The gun is paired with a laser rangefinder, thermal imaging, ballistic computers, and a stabilization system that lets the Abrams fire accurately at full speed across rough terrain. That last point matters more than most people realize. Hitting a moving target while you yourself are moving, bouncing across broken ground, is extraordinarily difficult. The Abrams fire control system solves that problem because it can engage and destroy enemy tanks at over 2 miles with high first shot kill probability. The crew of 4 each have defined roles that allow them to detect, track, and destroy targets with practiced efficiency. The T-90 carries a 125mm 2A 46M smoothbore cannon with a notable capability the Abrams lacks. It can fire laser-guided anti-tank missiles directly through the barrel, giving it a long-range precision option against armor and helicopters. The T-90's autoloader also eliminates the human loader, reducing crew from 4 to 3 and making the tank smaller and lighter. But the autoloader has limits. It's slower than a trained human under pressure, and a malfunction in combat is catastrophic. More critically, the T-90's fire control system remains behind Abrams in accuracy and situational awareness. In Ukraine, T-90 crews have struggled to engage targets at distances where Abrams fires with confidence, and so the round 3 winner is Abrams. It has superior fire control and first shot accuracy. Also in tank combat, whoever fires accurately first almost always wins. A tank that can't move is a target. Mobility determines whether a tank can exploit breakthroughs, retreat from threats, and reposition faster than the enemy can react. The Abrams runs on the AGT-1500, which is a 1,500 horsepower gas turbine engine. Most tanks use diesel. The turbine gives Abrams exceptional power-to-weight ratio, pushing it to 45 miles per hour on roads and 30 miles per hour off-road. It also runs whisper quiet at idle, which is where its name, Whispering Death, comes from. Enemy troops have reported not hearing it until it was already among them. Although turbine has one real weakness: fuel consumption. The Abrams burns around 300 gallons every 8 hours. That's an enormous logistical burden, keeping an Abrams fleet fueled. In a fast-moving battle requires massive supply chain investment, and fuel shortages can ground the whole force. The T-90 uses a V92S diesel engine producing 1,000 horsepower. Diesel is far more fuel efficient, giving the T-90 a meaningful range advantage and a much lighter logistical footprint. It reaches 43.5 miles per hour on roads and 28 miles per hour off-road, which is competitive in most real scenarios. The T-90 also snorkels for deep water, fording up to 15 feet. The T-90M's engine has been flagged as underpowered compared to its combat-loaded weight, especially with reactive armor panels added, but it delivers adequate operational performance in most conditions. So we can conclude that Abrams wins on raw power. T-90 wins on fuel efficiency and range. Modern tank warfare is as much about information as it is about armor and guns. The crew that sees first, identifies accurately, and reacts fastest wins, and this is where the gap between these two tanks becomes apparent. The Abrams M1 A2 is built around crew awareness and survivability. The commander and gunner both have independent thermal sights, meaning both can simultaneously scan for targets, engage different threats, or if one side is damaged, the other takes over completely. The commander's independent thermal viewer allows the commander to search for targets while the gunner engages a different one. This hunter-killer capability dramatically increases the tank's effectiveness in complex, target-rich environments. The digital battlefield management system connects the Abrams crew to other friendly forces in real time to enable sharing position data, target information, and tactical updates. Individual tanks become nodes in a coordinated killing network rather than isolated vehicles. The T-90M has received genuine upgrades. For example, the Kalina fire control system for improved thermal imaging and ballistic computing. But Ukraine has exposed a critical vulnerability. The T-90M relies heavily on Western microchips and imported electronics for its most critical systems. Post-2022 sanctions severed that supply chain. Captured T-90Ms have been found packed with foreign-made components Russia can no longer source. This is actively limiting production and maintenance right now. So the round 5 winner is Abrams. With its superior crew systems, hunter-killer capability, networked operations, and a fully domestic supply chain chain versus a technologically dependent system whose critical components Russia can no longer freely import. This is the round that makes this comparison different from every other tank comparison video on YouTube. We don't have to rely entirely on manufacturer claims or wargame simulations. These tanks are fighting each other's equipment right now in real conditions with real consequences. Let's start with the T-90M. Russia's most advanced tank has suffered serious losses in Ukraine. By documented count, at least 176 T-90S of various variants have been destroyed, damaged, or captured. The T-90M, supposedly Russia's best, has been knocked out by FPV drones, which are small, cheap, first-person view attack drones that cost a few $100s each. The pattern of these kills is telling. Ukrainian forces typically immobilize T-90S first by targeting their tracks, then destroy them at leisure once they can't move. The autoloader carousel ammunition storage creates the catastrophic jack-in-the-box explosions that have become very familiar footage from the front lines. Now here's the number that matters most. 72 T-90M tanks have been confirmed destroyed in Ukraine. Ukraine received 31 M1 Abrams tanks from the United States, along with training for 200 soldiers conducted in Germany. These tanks were deployed carefully, not thrown into massed assaults, but used in specific planned operations where their capabilities could be maximized. They supported infantry operations around Avdiivka, helped disrupt Russian advances, and participated in the Kursk operation. The results: 5 Abrams tanks have been disabled. One was captured and abandoned after being repeatedly struck by FPV drones when its infantry support was lost, rather than being destroyed by direct tank-to-tank combat. Most importantly, no Abrams crew has been confirmed killed in direct tank combat in Ukraine. Consider that ratio. Ukraine fielded 31 Abrams. Russia has had 72 T-90Ms confirmed destroyed, which is more than double the entire Ukrainian Abrams fleet. Despite the T-90 being deployed in far larger numbers, the Abrams tanks that were disabled were predominantly taken out by drone swarms and artillery, the same threats that stop every tank on the modern battlefield, not by T-90S or Russian anti-tank systems defeating them in direct combat. Meanwhile, the Chobham armor has repeatedly demonstrated its value, with Abrams tanks surviving hits that would have killed their crews in any other vehicle and being recovered for repair rather than written off. No comparison is complete without talking about cost, because affordability determines how many a nation can deploy. The T-90S costs between $5 and $7 million to build. Upgrades cost roughly a quarter of that. This affordability is an advantage because Russia can produce T-90S at a rate impossible for the US to match with Abrams, and losing one, while painful, is survivable at a national level. The M1A2 Abrams upgrade costs approximately $8.58 million per tank. Full procurement with training and support infrastructure is significantly higher. That means only wealthy, closely aligned US partners can afford to operate them. But cost per tank only tells part of the story. A tank that survives hits and gets repaired is far more cost-effective than a cheaper tank that burns. In Ukraine, Abrams tanks have been hit and recovered, but T-90Ms have been hit and destroyed, often catastrophically, crew and all. Factor in replacement costs and the calculation shifts. There's also what you get beyond the vehicle. Choosing Abrams means integrating into American doctrine, training systems, logistics networks, and combined arms frameworks refined over decades, because it doesn't fight alone. So T-90 wins on unit cost, but Abrams wins on strategic value and lifetime cost effectiveness, particularly when measured by combat results rather than purchase price. Here's what the scorecard says. The T-90M wins on unit cost because it's significantly cheaper to build and easier to produce at scale. It also wins on fuel efficiency because diesel beats turbine for operational range, and it carries a credible active protection system in the Shtora 1 that represents genuine engineering ingenuity. But the Abrams wins everything else. It wins on armor and crew protection by a wide documented margin. It also wins on firepower accuracy and engagement range, crew technology and situational awareness, and supply chain security and strategic integration. And most importantly, it wins in Ukraine, where the only test that actually matters is currently being run at full scale with real lives on the line. The numbers are in. Russia has lost more than double the entire Ukrainian Abrams fleet in T-90M tanks alone, despite deploying T-90s in larger numbers. The T-90M's ammunition storage kills its crews catastrophically. Its electronic systems depend on foreign components components Russia can no longer import, and its armor, despite the Contact 5 reactive panels, is being defeated by weapons that Abrams armor has survived. The M1 Abrams was designed around a single principle: the crew comes home. 45 years of continuous development, combat refinement, and technological investment have produced a tank where that principle is actually being upheld, even on the modern battlefield, even against drones, even in a war unlike any that has been fought before. No tank wins every battle, but if you had to choose one tank to climb into and face the enemy, the M1 Abrams wins. And Ukraine is proving it one engagement at a time. If this breakdown gave you a clear picture, hit that like button and subscribe. We cover the real data on modern warfare every week. Drop a comment below. Does Ukraine's combat record change how you thought about these tanks? Let us know. See you in the next one.